What up, everybody? Welcome back to the That Talk podcast. I'm your host, Nate. Today, I have Jason Stewart, one of the most inspirational people you are ever going to hear. If you have not tapped in with Jason, look him up on IG. It's at QB Stew, right?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Yeah, and I know he has YouTube as well. And I'm telling you, like this dude, I found him on IG. Literally one of the most inspirational, most influential, selfless people I have ever come across literally in my life. So I just want Jason to introduce himself and tell a little bit of backstory. Jason, as you know, I talked to you a little bit. This podcast is all about the mindset. So it's not about really what we do, but how we think and how we got through the times that people don't make it through. Because in reality, at the end of the day, what separates people, the people that make it and the people that don't, it's they quit when it gets hard. I mean, if you don't quit, you don't lose. So go ahead, take it away, bro.
Yeah, no, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your platform, and to all the listeners out there. I'm excited for what you guys might gain out of today's conversation, because you're going to hear a lot of things on psychology, on personal development, on just working the mind and taking yourself to a new place. And for me, it wasn't always like sunshine and rainbows. I started off in Alexandria, Virginia. So if you've seen the movie Remember the Titans, that was my city. That's where I came from. And I was always told, go to school, get good grades, get a good job. And unfortunately, I know the only way for me to go to school and get some type of education was a scholarship. So I had to go to junior college for 2 years. I had 0 scholarships. People were telling me that was going to be an absolute waste of time. Jason, you're not going to go D1. And this was my first experience telling people about a vision that I had well before it ever actually came to fruition, and having to see people continuously naysay and basically test what it was that I said about myself. And, ultimately after my 2 seasons at junior college, I became the #1 quarterback in the nation. And I was now able to choose which Division I university I wanted to go to. So it went from a seed of belief and vision to having people test what it was that I said about myself, because it's in those test stages that you realize whether the vision is true or not.
So can you, real quick, before you keep going, can you tell me like what is going through your mind at the time that these tests are happening and the naysayers? Because in reality, we're collaborative beings. When in the early stages of time, that's how we survive. So our environment is so important, because no matter who we're around, we have this natural idea to collaborate. So with that being said, how do you deal with that in your ear?
The best thing, and once again, glory to God, man, this just came upon me because I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Okay, think about your entire life as a movie. I know we say that, but let's actually think about it duration wise. Let's say your movie is an hour and a half. Okay, and somebody comes into your life that's only seen three minutes of your movie. Probably less.
Yeah.
Someone who's only seen 20-second clip of your movie and is now telling you what the overall outcome should be. They come in with no context. You literally are watching your movie, directing your movie, acting in your own movie every single day, and you're going to let somebody who's seen 20 seconds of your movie tell you what you're worth, if they've even seen the 20 seconds. It's when you realize what you're actually in pursuit of, then you get to a point where it really, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, because it hurts. It weighs heavy.
Yeah.
It does matter, but it's like something that you're willing to persevere and push through. Because even as we get later on into the story, I experienced another season of that when I had first got into trading, right? But it's like, because I was prepped and I had certain people that still supported me. I remember when I was having a conversation with my mom and my dad, telling them I'm Division I player, and they're looking at me like the same way. Like, they were very supportive, but it's like, let's be honest. If my kid was telling me that and they don't have Division I, Division II, or Division III asking them to come play, then it's like, it's kind of like a reality check, like, come on, man, wake up.
They're thinking, what leg are you standing on, right?
Exactly. And I can't, and that's, once again, bro, I don't fault them, because they knew how hard-headed I was, and they knew like I would work. So the belief that they had in me to be able to say, you know what, like, let's at least let him try.
Mm-hmm.
because the worst thing that I feel like you can do in that situation is not try. Had I just gone and walked on at another school, or like tried to, go a different route, go to the military, I would always have to live with the thought of like, I wonder if I could have gone Division 1 or did what I said I thought I could do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I heard a quote from Tony Robbins, and he said that regret weighs tons.
1,000%. You'll lay on your deathbed thinking about what you didn't do versus what you did do, and there's like only one moment really in my life, even to this day, that I really feel like I have a massive regret of, at least like, dang, I wish if I had done this one thing differently just to experience it. And so, I mean, even so, I'll fast forward down the story. I
Mm-hmm.
go to the University of Memphis, that's down in Tennessee, and I get to school, and my roommate, bro, I walk into the dorm. This guy comes up to me. He's 6'7", 240 pounds. And I'm thinking he's a D lineman, a tight end. I'm like, bro, what position do you play? He's like, I play quarterback. And now I'm like thinking to myself, I should have checked the roster. I should have been more diligent about where I decided to go, because
you walked on here, right?
no, this is Memphis was
Oh,
a
okay.
full
Okay.
scholarship.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this was right after I was done being #1 in the nation.
Yeah.
Memphis
Yeah.
gave me a full scholarship. I'm getting to Memphis, and I'm excited because I'm like, all right, I did 2 years in JUCO, and
Yeah.
football players, everyone knows JUCO is kind of like doing a bid, like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you're either a Division 1 bounce back because you got kicked out or didn't have the grades, or you're a kid like me who's um trying to be a diamond in the rough. That's like,
Yep.
I haven't been recruited, but I feel like I'm good enough to play at that level.
Yep.
And so I ended up at Memphis, and then boom, now I'm behind this guy. And I remember the first time I saw him throw, I'm like, this dude is an NFL caliber. Like, look, I'm like, the ball just came out of his hand different. I'm like, dang, this. And so, the blessing in disguise, though, is like, because I ended up having to sit behind somebody who started and I had to let them be great. I not only did I support them being great, but then I started to see other avenues of life open up. Like, hey, Jason, you know what? Even
Mm-hmm.
though you devoted your last 5 years to football, I want to show you that there's other things that you can do that are still going to take you on later on in life, because football doesn't last forever.
Mm-hmm. I was really hoping you were going to bring that up, bro. Can you talk to me a little bit? I know we need to get a little deeper into the story, so if you want to keep going, but before we totally skip this, I want you to talk about a transition, especially for people when they feel like they've invested so much in something, right? What is that transition like when you go, this is what I know, this is kind of what I've gained a little bit of success in, or a little bit of, traction with, how do I completely go into something else and be the new guy? I find that with riding a lot. My riding, is at a level where I'm one of the best at what I do in the country, but my passion is self-development, bro. And I find myself leaning more towards, I really want to change people's lives and help people discover that the mind in the idea that you're literally one of one. Like, we're not an accident, bro. Like you can literally, like, just waking people up to that fact. So how do you go through this process of kind of almost being not forced, but you made the decision to go down a different avenue? And what is the mindset like going through that, and how do you battle that like whirlwind and tornado of emotions when you jump into something completely new?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I found that was interesting, though, is like, although it was my first time really getting into entrepreneurship, I had already been an entrepreneur throughout my whole
Mm-hmm.
life, like doing different things. High school, I was selling North Faces, and then elementary school, I was selling. It's funny because they had that's a whole nother story, but I was selling stuff in all throughout my life and making money and hustling, and the people that grew up around me knew that like I've been doing that kind of stuff. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
kind of like made me aware, because when I was solely devoted to football, I gave everything to it. It wasn't like, and that's the thing, even in junior college, I separated both my shoulders in the middle of the season.
Wow.
So it's like I knew I had already played, so my clock was already ticking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I had two options. I could either sit out the rest of the year and hope that I had enough footage that maybe a team would be interested, or I could tape my AC joints into place every practice and every game. So that way I can continue to play and get more film. And it's like,
How
that's,
do you throw with a separated shoulder?
well, luckily I didn't separate my right shoulder
Okay.
until the last game of the season, but my
Sheesh,
left
okay.
shoulder, my AC joint, grade 2 separation, I had done second game of the season, bro. So
Wow.
literally for the rest of the season, every practice, every game, my shoulders being taped. Now, mind you, I'm a running quarterback as well, so it's not like I'm a Peyton Manning. No, I like to
Hmm.
run and
Hmm.
get loose, and I got a shoulder that's, and even throwing, you're using your left arm. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was just one of those things, man. It's like those are the tests. Those are where you really find out if you are what you say you are. And I had been
Yeah. How bad do
saying,
you want it?
exactly, bro. And
Hmm.
everything that I had been saying and seeing, even that, bro, I had designed, because I've been in doing Photoshop for a long time, always like dabbling. But I remember I made there was a college football video game that I put myself on the cover of without even knowing the law of attraction and understanding the principle of seeing
Yep.
the vision, right? Making it
Hmm.
plain so that
Yep.
all can see, and that those who believe will run, you know,
Hmm.
literally run to it. And
Hmm.
that's where it was cool. Like once I started to learn these things later on, as I started to study and venture off for myself, then I'm like, wow, like I was doing these things without even realizing it. But no, it was definitely scary, bro. Diving into a new venture and then saying, okay,
Yeah.
you know
So
what?
yeah. So you go from finding out. So we skipped the part. So you go from finding out that your roommate is NFL caliber, right? So then you find yourself like, yo, I kind of have to change gears here because this. Did you end up playing, or what does that look like? And then take me into the shirt stuff after that.
Yeah, definitely, bro. So even when I realized that I wasn't gonna play, the worst part about being a backup quarterback is you have to sit with the butterflies every game. What I mean by
Mm-hmm.
that is if you're a starting quarterback, you have butterflies all the way up until the first play of the game. Once you, and
Okay.
the thing that I would usually have a coach do for me too is like maybe, hey, let me get a quarterback run like within the first 3 plays. So that way I can,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Get
Because
it. Get the jitters out. Yeah.
exactly, bro. That one
Mm.
hit, bro, is just like, all right, we're here. Like, let's play. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
all those
Okay.
like butterflies of the night before and the bus ride to the game and the warm ups and the locker room, this is all this buildup. Now, as the backup
Yeah.
quarterback, you
Okay.
don't get that first hit. So you're sitting
I
there with
see.
that type
Okay.
of energy and butterfly for the entire game, just saying, okay, I gotta be still locked in mentally because at any point they could expect me to just come in the game like cold, fresh off the sideline
Wow.
and
Okay.
pick
Wow.
up
Okay.
right where the offense left off. And
Crazy. Okay. I didn't understand that pressure.
yeah, it's once again like it's all about being in the shoes, and not every backup quarterback probably like prepared or like was that engaged.
Hmm.
But definitely for me, that was something I took pride in because I played games, but it was always like mop up duty. And then there was one game, bro. It was one game my last year at Memphis that we were playing against Cincinnati. And the starter, my boy Riley Ferguson, he got hit. It was like his whiplash, his head hit the turf, he was concussed, he was out of it. It was like I knew for certain like my guy was not going to play the rest of the game.
Wow.
It was that time.
Hmm.
And that was just one of those moments, bro, just like God letting me know I got you. Because at that point, bro, we didn't have many games left in the season. At that point,
Hmm.
I hadn't actually played much in regards to actual time on the field at Memphis. But that leading up to me being MVP and us being Cincinnati at Cincinnati, me coming up, it's like, people are talking about my 2 TDs and I only had 2 incompletions and all of this stuff. And it's like, I knew even going into next week, if Riley was healthy, he was going to play. So it wasn't a
Hmm.
matter of like, oh, there's now all of a sudden quarterback controversy. No, that was just God letting me know, hey, you were prepared and made sure that when the
Yep.
opportunity came, you capitalized off it.
Yep.
And then the first thing that I did, bro, as soon as all the cameras are put on me, NBC reporters, hey, we're here with Jason Stewart. This is crazy. You're the backup. You're coming off the bench and you carve it up. How do you
Crazy.
feel? First thing I say, all glory to God. I have to give it up to him. Without him, I wouldn't even be here.
Wow, bro.
And the same thing stands true for everything that I've achieved and accomplished today. I know we'll get more into that, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the proof, bro. That's why I'm so big on affirmations, because when I say I am God's steward artist, when I say I am a 10-figure trader, when I say I am creating 100 7-figure earners, when I say these things, it's me and God in partnership.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we are going to do that together, but the me part of that needs to hear it,
Yep.
and the me part of that needs to see.
I am is the covenant between the spirit and the flesh.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Yep.
And so it's like, it's just an energy, bro. It's an energy, and I know you can feel it. I can already tell based off your energy, you can feel it. But it's just like,
Yep.
once you finally are starting to truly understand and embrace everything that it is that you are, because that's another thing too. We want to talk about mindset. Let's talk about insecurities. Let's talk about psychological
Yep.
damaging and
Yep.
and lashes and bruises and scars and
Yeah.
all these things that people have accrued over their life, including myself,
Yep.
that we have to work through in
Mm-hmm.
order to continue to become the greatest version and the healthiest
Yep.
version, bro. Like, you don't want to be having to live under those mental confinements, because it
Yes.
really
Yes.
is tiring, bro. You just feel
Yeah.
strangled.
Yeah. You feel 100%, bro. I think that's one of the biggest things that I think that we do is we don't ever unpack, like
Right.
as like, and I think that's what holds us down. You can only carry so much weight, you know, and at a certain point, that's the whole point with, you know, with the spirit and, you know, with God and the universe and whatever people believe in, is that it is up to the higher power will carry that weight for you. But you got to unpack it to them. You know, you have to have that relationship in order for those things to be lifted off of you, so you can do and achieve the things that you want. I fully agree, bro. I think that we spend way too much time just being in underweight that we're not supposed to carry.
1,000%, bro. 1,000%.
So talk to me about the transition from, you know, you, bro. I mean, you really were that dude in the avenue that you were in, right? So I want to jump over to trading. For, like I said, for people that don't know, QB Stu is now a trader, 7-figure trader, which is absolutely insane. Guy started literally from nothing. So talk to me about being that dude, where you were at. And then again, you know, we get to kind of go into the part where you switch gears and you start from zero again. And I really love this story. So go ahead and jump into that.
Yeah, I'll definitely jump in. I also want to touch on this briefly. It's funny because even when my brain hears me get introduced as 7-figure trader, it doesn't
Mhm.
sound right, because my brain has been hearing
It's eight or nine. Yeah.
but it's actually 10.
It's 10. Okay. Yeah.
That's the
Hey,
thing.
my bad, bro. My
Nah,
bad.
you're good. You're good. That's the thing, bro. When you understand that God created the heavens and the earth, bro, it's why couldn't he create that for my life? When you
Hmm.
understand like what's truly possible and that there
Hmm.
are no limits,
There's
then
none. Yeah.
even me saying 10 is a limit. You see, like, so
Hmm.
it's just the only thing that has changed for me over the years is my belief level, and then
Yep.
also my precision as far as what exactly it is that I am slash desire from life. But the transition wasn't easy, bro. I went from the guy at Memphis and playing, and like, you know, I was making these shirts, and I'll show the shirts real quick just so people know. I was
Yep.
designing these shirts for athletes where basically their images are inside of the numbers and it shares their whole journey. I call them the journey shirts, and the brand is called Glory to God, G2 God. And I just wanted there to be some type of clothing that could represent not only someone's faith, but like a piece of them, what they've been through. And I wanted all the profits from those shirts to go to an actual good cause and something that
Hmm.
could actually help people down the road. So it was a passion project. When I moved and left from Memphis, I actually went to Denver, Colorado. The quarterback who played in front of me at Memphis ended up being a first-round draft pick, became a millionaire literally overnight. I remember the first time he showed me $1 million in his account, and like we were both still living at the house in Memphis, and it was like we were on that broke, life.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
yeah, bro, and it's crazy because now college players can get paid and there's no issues, and like during that time we couldn't.
hmm
So stuff like that is just prime example of the season that you're in. It could change, but you gotta, handle the cards that you're dealt
Yep.
the best that you can. But I moved out to Denver, Colorado with him. And that's when I started to see another transitional season because I went through massive identity crisis.
Yes.
And even to this day, bro, like how much pride I take in being a quarterback. That's why I'm known as QB Stu, because it's like I'm combining with something that was my life with also who I am.
It's an evolution. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, even as a trader, I still am quarterbacking on these charts. Everything that I see on the charts has been broken down and systemized as another form of football. So even that we'll dive into a bit, because that's like later on in the trading career. But I started looking for ways to make money. I found myself at Target because I moved out there with like $2,000. I didn't have a car, and so I'm living with this millionaire. But I told him early on, bro, I don't want any money from you. Like, I appreciate you letting me stay here. And he looked out for me, blessed me with all that. Like, blessed me with, he did a deal with a furniture store. Like, he showed love, man. That was my guy. But at the same time, he also knew that I didn't want him like just sending me 10 G's. And like, like, this is yours. Like, I knew that there was a certain level of depth that I needed to stay true to in order to be hungry about achieving something for myself. And, at the time, that probably wasn't the best route to maybe go, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it because that forced me to have to be hungry and figure it out. I got a job at Target. I was working at Target from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. doing the morning shifts. It was very like depressing for me because it was repetitive. I was only making $10 an hour. I was having to walk in the cold like 3/4 of a mile to get there each day. And it was just like, I would get home at 10:30, 11 a.m. and my roommates or my best friends are like waking up and like excited to take on the day, and I'm just like ready to go back to sleep. But then I'm like, there has to be more to this than just $10 an hour. And like, and it was just something that I knew I wasn't going to stay with forever, but it just kind of expedited my search for, I'm not doing this. And that's nothing against people who are doing that. It's just at that stage of my life, I believe I was 25 years old, 25 or 26, around that area. And I was there with high schoolers, but I already had 2 degrees and lived with a millionaire. I'm like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. But it's like, once again, God will put you in certain seasons. So that way you're left with no choice but to want to either live with it and conform or get out of it. And I started Googling ways to make money online. I came across this 18-year-old kid on Instagram. Dude was traveling all over the world. He wasn't even flashing money. He was flashing passports. And I thought that was pretty cool, because it's like, you wouldn't be in these places
if you didn't have bread.
Exactly, bro. And that's the type of stuff really stuck out to me, because I wasn't really big into like the Rolexes or the money and like people showing that, because a lot of that can be fake. But I just hit him up, bro, and I got on 3 different calls with this 18-year-old kid. And the last call, he basically was like, bro, you're either going to try it out or you're not. There's a 7-day refund period. I'm not doing another call. And when I heard there's a 7-day refund period, I said, bingo. I said, that's the green light. That's the green light. You're going to let me come in for 7 days. So I paid the bread to sign up. I remember, I even made sure, that I would have the actual information. I recorded, with my iPad, and made sure that even if I wanted to get the bread back, that I would have some information that I could.
The info,
And once again, that's, we might have to blur that out, but, but I know the real ones understand, though. That's just the hustler in me. Is like, okay, I'm going to squeeze the lemon for all it's worth. If I'm going to buy this lemon, you tell me I have 7 days to give it back, whether I like it or not. Then I'm going to use up the lemon as much as I can in that 7 days, and then make a decision. And I just remember after like day 2 or day 3, just learning about the market and taking trades on a demo account and just seeing like what was possible. I remember the first trade I ever took, I made $7, and it just blew my mind, because I'm like, bro, I just pressed a button, and then waited 15 minutes,
Mhm.
and then pressed a button again. And now it's saying that my account has $7 more than it
Mhm.
did 15 minutes ago. And
Yep.
bro, that as much as I hated trading, because I want people to know, when I first saw the charts, I hated it. When I
Mhm.
was hearing people talk about trading, I hated it.
It's
Why
a
did
new
I?
language.
Exactly. It wasn't even a hate against the market. It was a hate of having to learn something new, a
Yep.
frustration of I am a newbie in this. I don't
Mhm.
know what buy and sell means.
Yeah,
And
because
I
you're a high
didn't.
performer everywhere else.
Exactly, bro. And that's what
Yeah.
keeps most people from ever knowing if they can achieve a certain level of greatness in
It's
different
the
fields.
ego.
If the ego keeps it suppresses them from even being willing to suck long enough to maybe be a great in another season.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like we make relative how old I am, how old you are. Well, I'm not going to ask this kid how to do this. Like, I'm 30 and he's 20. Like, it's the ego, bro. I mean, 100%. I don't want to be the new guy. I don't want to sound stupid. I don't want to ask dumb questions. It's like, I heard a quote the other day. It said, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask. Like, and you never, if you're the new person, you want to do something different. People, if you kept doing what you were doing, you would stay where you're at.
Mhm.
So when you want different, you got to do different. You got to move different. You got to ask different questions. It's like you said, it's a season.
1,000%, bro. And that season for me specifically, I remember when I got into it, it wasn't easy, bro. Like it actually got harder before it got better because
Mm-hmm.
I was brand new. And I remember the first account that I ever got set up was money that my mom had loaned to me. Once again, talk about support, bro. Like because of the fact that my education basically had got paid for, there was like a certain level of like appreciation from my parents because like once I was at Memphis and I was getting paid my little $1,200 a month, not including rent and everything else. Like I wasn't hitting them up about money. I was just out there
Yeah.
hustling,
Yep.
doing me.
Yep.
And so once it got to a point where I saw like, oh wow, like I had the company that I had signed up to learn from. They had basically this person that would take trades for you on your account, and you could watch it grow. And I was watching it grow without even really knowing much about trading. And like within the first 2 or 3 months, the account started going into crazy drawdown. And it was like she had put $8,000 in there, and the account went into like $4,000 drawdown, bro. I'm sitting here like, what the heck, bro? Like to me at that time, 8 bands was an astronomical number.
Yeah, for
I
real.
had never had more than 2 or 3 bands growing up, like throughout my life, because that's just what it was. And
Mm-hmm.
I was focused on other things outside of just making money. I was solely
Yep.
dedicated to trying to go play football and
Yep. Yep.
do all that. So this was a different stage of my life. But yeah, bro, that season top that made me experience my first experience ever with live money. You talk about a psychological and emotional damage, bro. There was days because I experienced this type of drawdown for 2 months, bro. This wasn't like
It's
a 1 day
crazy.
drawdown. There was
It's
days
crazy.
my hands were numb, bro, tingling because of how much anxiety I had over the fact that this was not my bread. This is the bread of someone that I care about more so than my
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
like I would have
If
rather
it's
had.
yours, it's whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like I can take that on the chin, and it's like that's me. But it's like no, bro. Like this is the first time that I've ever asked, my mom to like, take this leap of faith with me. And what's crazy too, that company ended up closing out all the trades on these accounts because they said, hey, you know what? Mirror trading is what it's called when another person mirrors their trades. They said
Yeah.
mirror trading is actually illegal in the U.S., so we have to shut this down. And like once
Wow.
again, how could I not be slightly salty about that? Because now they just closed out 4 bands on a 8.6K account, and I'm sitting here like, well, now I have no choice but to start learning this.
Yeah. Because you got four G's to pay back to one of the most important people in your life.
1,000%, bro. And it was just kind of one of those situations where it's like you find yourself down 14 at halftime, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, we have a choice. Like we either just come out and get blown out the rest of the way, or we fight back and see how we can finish. And once again, bro, like by the grace of God, because I did not even know enough about trading, bro. Knowing what I know now, and who I was in that season, how much I knew. I didn't know trading, bro. I knew enough to place how much I was going to risk, and I knew
Yeah.
enough to place parameters on,
Yep.
okay, this is where I want it to go, and this is where I don't want it to go. Take
Yeah,
it out, right?
exactly.
And so I had basically placed only like 1 or 2 trades and put a decent amount of risk on it. And by the grace of God, bro, got right back to around a little under 8 bands. It was like 7,998. And so it
Mm-hmm.
was like perfect. Like, you know what I mean? We made it back. We're there. And I remember just withdrawing it and sending it to her, and just like knowing that I was just like ready to, like, let go of that emotional stress. And what's funny,
Yeah.
obviously we'll touch into it more here in a second, but like nowadays, bro, like the amount of risk that I'm able to handle and manage versus like that kind, it is
Mm-hmm.
astronomically different at this current stage.
Yep.
But what's crazy, bro, is if I take a trade on my mom's account now, because obviously it's a different situation. I have
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
account set up for my mom where it's like if I want to put some trades on there and help her account grow. But it's funny because I can have the smallest amount of risk on my mom's account, and then all this astronomical risk on another account, and
Yeah.
I'm stressing way more
Yeah.
about my
Yeah.
mom's account
Yeah.
than I
Yeah.
am about the one. And that's once again when you talk about diving deeper into the mind and psychology and emotions and all these things that you feel. Those are things I try to pay attention to and be aware of, because if you can identify it, then you can correct it or acknowledge it. And when it arises and is there, you can say, okay, you know what? I know what's happening. I know what's going on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so talk to me a little bit, because I'm in the trading. I'm in the process of the trading journey myself. So I'm starting to understand a lot of the things that you're talking about. But one thing I really want to touch on with the mind was um, how are you dealing with I remember in another podcast I listened to a lot of your content. You know, you had a girl, and your boy that you were living with was like, yo, you're wasting your time. What are you doing? This is a scam. And you know, it's crazy because I have a little brother that is in a season right now. And I was talking to him the other day, and I said, what is stopping you from doing what you love to do? And he said, I'm afraid my family won't support me. And it broke my heart, bro. And I was like, so how do you work through these times where, and again, I know for you it's the vision, but talk to me a little bit out loud, like during the time when, you know, what everybody knows what that feel like when your boy's like, yo, you're wasting your time, and you know, your girl, you end up, the relationship ends up ending because people think that you have this crazy thing that's never going to happen. So talk to me a little bit. It was a question I asked on Instagram to try to get some questions to ask you what people wanted to hear, and that was one that stuck out to me, was um how did you push through those times when people didn't believe?
Yeah, the thing that's interesting, bro, is it's when when it gets to that phase in your life, it's almost like God is going to start to rearrange your environment, and that's once again a reason for every season. It's like when those things happen, it was that stage right after like a year. It was not it was actually, yeah, it wasn't even a full year that I had been trading. It was only about it was June 26, 2017 is when I got started. And by the end of March, I was already heading home to go live back at my parents' house, because I was basically told, hey, it's been nice having you guys, but it's time for you to go a different route.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole concept, once again, bro, like we talk about forgiveness and ability, like for a long time, bro, that was a big dent in both of our relationship. And just
Yeah.
just this past New Year's, we spent New Year's together.
Mm-hmm.
Literally this last New Year's. And so it's like that concept of, it doesn't, just because something happens in a certain season. And that's also a post I made yesterday about people can give you the wrong advice coming from the right place. And that's when
Yes.
I
Yep.
learned, like, people can still love you tremendously and be telling you advice out of the depths of their heart, but
Mm-hmm.
it still be the wrong advice.
a
And
hundred percent.
I feel like that's where you just have to really hone in on what is the root of this person's advice. Is it because they love me, or is it because they hate on me?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. No, I have this concept, bro, that I truly believe that there's no real advice that we can really take, because at the end of the day, it's you're we're all here God in the higher power has an idea for every single one of us individually, and none of these journeys, maybe, you know, they meet, but they never are the same. So it's, you can ask for guidance, you can ask for mentorship, but as far as your life changing decisions, they have to come within. I mean, they really do. Yeah, bro. So, you know, going through that, and then talk to me a little bit about when you start seeing like a little bit of success, and was there any turbulence, you know, and then how do you keep going? Because at the end of the day, like I said at the beginning, I feel like the people that make it and the people that don't, they quit when adversity strikes. So it's good when it's good, right? But when it's bad, how do you respond? Same thing, you know, with football. Like you're the number one quarterback in the nation, you go and you're like, oh wow, like I'm not gonna play. Just the same as you know, responded that way. Was it the same in the journey with trading too?
It definitely was. And it was interesting because I had moved to go live with my dad in Erie, Pennsylvania, and that's right below Canada. It's actually like one of the top 5 cities for annual snowfall, so it gets very cold, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of snow, and they're known for that. And I haven't always dealt with the cold or snow well, but I was in a house filled with warmth, bro. What I mean by that is I was surrounded by people who genuinely loved me
Mm-hmm.
and like genuinely supported me and wanted the best for me. And that was a great thing because they were the only people outside of a couple other family relatives that I even knew up there. I didn't have any friends up there. I didn't grow up there. That was literally me going to live there at one of the lowest points in my life, because all these things that I thought made me were being stripped away.
Yep.
And I felt like, okay, I thought all this on paper looked perfect. You know, I'm gonna go live in Denver, Colorado. I'm here with my best friend who's a millionaire, and he's on the NFL team. We're gonna go to games, and I'm gonna blow up my business and get
Yeah.
paid and do up my own thing.
Uh-huh.
And that just isn't what it ended up being for any of us. And that's once again where, like, sometimes what you think on paper is the perfect situation is usually just could be a transitional season for what you
Mm-hmm.
have to go through. And so
Wow.
being
Yeah.
at home with my dad and my stepmom, and her running the daycare, and being close with family and members that actually, you know, were there to support me and love me, they didn't always understand what I was doing. And I told them,
Mm-hmm.
like, I totally got that. Like, I get y'all don't get that this trading. But, and the other thing too, I had to sacrifice, bro. I wasn't just like, nope, I'm not gonna go work. I was working with my dad as a carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
So literally it would be like a 20-minute, 30-minute car ride to the house that we were going to work on. And I would be on my MT4 marking up charts. And not only that, bro, I would have personal development playing on the Bluetooth in the morning
Yep. Yep.
every day. And I won't say every day, but I want to say if we
Mm-hmm.
go to work 6 days out of the week, I had it playing full.
I like it. Who do you
Okay.
like?
A lot of people, bro. Honestly, it really just depended on the day. But I like Les Brown. I like
Okay.
Jim Rome. I like
Yep.
Napoleon Hill. I like
Mm-hmm.
I like Steve Harvey.
Okay.
Um, you know, even we would listen to Joe Rogan. We'd listen to Will Smith, Denzel
Mm-hmm.
Washington,
Yep.
motivational mashups. It's just
Yep.
the purpose of us, like, putting that into our mind to start the day. Like, we are
Yep.
heading to work, but instead of us listening to the news or the radio, we're
Yep.
gonna listen to something that's gonna get our brain thinking.
100%. Yep.
And but here's what's cool, bro, because I want to make sure this is said and understood, because this is massively important, even for people who feel like the results in abundance has not yet landed on them the way they feel like it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Those days going to work with my dad and like spending every day with him, even though I was financially broke, I was rich in life, bro, and in experience. I was with my best friend, my hero, somebody who I looked up to my entire life, and getting to learn a skill set from him of being a carpenter. And once again, to tie it back into my faith and belief, bro, the house that we went to go work on, we needed to gut the property. The whole house had flood damage. So we needed to gut the property, take out all the drywall, all the insulation, everything, even some 2x4s and primary structure base points had to get changed. And I just remember, like, bro, I was there for like 3 weeks. I was like crying every day, bro. Like, and I was trying to, I wasn't like, oh, like all, they knew I was going through shit. My dad knew I was going
Mm-hmm.
through shit. My grandfather knew I was going through shit. So it's like, I wasn't just overly, you know, like doing it, but it's just I was hurting, bro. So it's like I'm working, I'm gutting this property, and then we all collectively had to build it back up, and it took a year for us to do. And it's almost like the significance of that property represented what I was going through internally, where I was having to gut things out of me that I thought made me or valuable, and then I needed to start building myself up back in faith and belief and confidence and just trust and all of these things. I had to build myself up back the right way and give myself a better foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the blessing, bro, because after I would be done at work, I would come home, I would sit in my room, and I'm on the charts studying, or while I'm taking trades on demo accounts or live accounts, I'm playing my game, and I'm up staying up for London and trading in London, and I'm going to work, and then I'm coming home and I'm studying. And we still had plenty of fun times too, but every day was just this, because I didn't have a whole bunch of distractions. That's where God
Mm-hmm.
cleared out the noise for me for over a year and
Gotcha.
a half.
Okay. Cool.
And that's, yeah, bro. I started to have results. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I remember I got this NCAA check that came in. They owed a bunch of players money. I got like around 6,000, and that was like the seed money for the start of just epic abundance, that God was basically like, you trusted in me and you continue to know that there was more on the horizon. And
Mm-hmm.
now here it is.
I love that. Yeah, something I preach about my brand and something I subscribe to is, like you were talking about, everything that you thought you identified with was taken from you. And I believe that, I say this, like, a man is defined in times when he has nothing, when he gets nothing in return and no one is around. So what do you identify with? You have to identify with the things that can't be taken from you, which is your character, correct? So, same thing. How do you act when nobody's around? How do you act when you get nothing in return? And how do you act when you have nothing? Those are the only things that can never be taken from you. And it's a true testament to you following these laws, and getting to where you are. I want to talk a little bit, just because it's always in the conversation, about social media and comparison, especially because I see it, with people. Well, I can never have what he has because he's so far ahead of me, and with, especially, I know a lot of my subscribers don't subscribe to trading, but to understand that a lot of people post profits, a lot of people, flash the bag, and a lot of people flash a lot of things. How did you deal with, or did you deal with any type of like mental issues where, you're constantly comparing? Because as much as we want to say we don't, we all do. And how do you deal with that, especially being with the game that you're in?
Yeah, well, I heard a quote by Teddy Roosevelt, and he said, "Comparison is the thief of joy."
Mm-hmm.
And that, I remember that kind of like helped me get over the fact of, like, if you're always looking at what someone else has and then measuring it to what you got or where you're at, then you're always going to feel like you come up short,
Yep.
because there's always going to be somebody with more. That's just the
Mm-hmm.
truth of it. So that's where it's like, and plus, once again, bro, the seasons where God made me have to decide, okay, you're either going to support this guy who's starting in front of you, or you're going to be a cancer to the team and just
Mm-hmm.
not be fun to be around, and
Yep. Yep.
negative energy and everything else. And it's like, you have to make those decisions as a person. Everyone that's ever, like, that's not just football, that's anything, the workforce. Okay, boom, you didn't get that promotion. There's somebody ahead of you. You have to decide, okay, do you be salty for the next 2-3 months that and
Yeah.
give an attitude to everyone in the office? I'm not going to work here anymore. Like, or do you support that person? And I get it, it's a lot of variables and things to be talked about in those situations, but it was the concept of, he put me through those seasons, so that way when it came to, I see people trading, I already lived with millionaires. I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
already seen people out there that had way more money than him.
Mm-hmm.
You see, like the environment and doors that it gave us access to, and people that he even introduced me to, and I'm seeing what they got, and it wasn't so much. I've never been so much of when I see what somebody has, I want to take it from them. I've always been a when I see what somebody has, they are human just like me.
Mm-hmm. You know it's possible. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I know the only thing that's truly separating most of us is just what we know or who we know.
Yep.
And so that's why I'm always trying to play both of those games. It's like continue to genuinely, organically get to know more people that's heading in the same direction I am. And as far as the what I know, continue to stay a student and not ever feel like I got all the answers and can't grow and can't level up or learn.
I like that. Yeah. So when I actually reached out to you, I was having this thought about, um, and this was the idea that sparked me reaching out to you, was the idea of abundance. And the reason that I feel like we're in this, there is no competition, if that makes sense. Competition doesn't exist. And the reason that I feel like people really think it exists is because you're playing a game that you're not supposed to be playing, right? So if you are in your gift, Jason, which like you said, you're an artist, right? Art, there's no boundaries in art. Art cannot be defined. You look at fashion, you look at paintings. Some people
It's all
throw,
subjective.
yeah, exactly, right. So, but when you, and again, when you're in that state of your gift and you're in your calling, you're doing what you are here sent to do. There is no competition because it's a singular activity that can't be defined, and it can't be, and it can't, you can't put borders on it. It's like the ocean, right? But when you are in, you put 100 people in a factory and there's 500K a year to pay 100 people, there's competition. If you put yourself in a position where there's a cap, and there is competition, those are those ideas where competition does exist. And what I subscribe to with my podcast is getting people to follow things that allow them to take it to where they want to go. You have to change your environment, and that's why I think for you, and it's something you said before, that right before we hit record, that was crazy to me, was that trading was just a gateway to you. And I think that that is so important, because you see a lot of people that have bread that are unfulfilled and unhappy because all they have is bread, right? There's no service being done. There's no higher mission other than collecting paper, right? But with you, that's why, again, I think you're so inspirational, because it's always, trading is what's going to give me the capital to do my passion. And I'm so inspired by that. And I subscribe to that so much. So, bar out a little bit on that. Like, what do you think about abundance and doing, what you're supposed to be doing? I think that I feel the same way. I think that I was introduced to trading by the higher power because my passion is self-development. I don't want to charge for it. I want to just be able to have conversations with people, something like Joe Rogan, and just get paid, just talking and putting out videos and making money that way, and not having to do a service, and just being able to put out information that changes people's lives, but obviously having my own abundance as well.
1,000%, bro. And everything that you're saying is fire right now. And I completely agree with. And even in regards to feeling like, God basically was like, you're going to be a trader versus you choosing it,
Mm-hmm.
I completely correspond. There's two things I want to say is like, the first thing is, if you were a superhero, my brother and I used to play this game all the time. If you were a superhero, people always ask you, what would your power be? And so it gets you thinking like, okay, there's flying, there's super strength, there's invisibility, all these different components, but you still ultimately have to make a choice. What would be your power? And I remember looking at different jobs. I remember looking at different opportunities. And what I would ask myself at the end of all of it is, what skill set comes with me
Mm-hmm.
tapping into
Yeah.
this? And so when I
Yep.
saw the skill set of multiplying money, not making money, but multiplying, I said, wow, that skill set right there,
Yeah.
that's something that I would love to maybe hopefully one day master. And the crazy thing, bro, that I really realized was, have you ever held a plank? Yeah, have you ever held a plank?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Like doing core work, and you just,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
right, doing core work, you got
Yeah.
your arms tucked up under
Yeah.
you, and you got
Yep.
to keep
Yep.
your butt low and your core tight.
Yep.
Okay, so here's something really crazy to think about, because you talked about comparison, and you talked about, you know, like people always thinking about, oh, I'm not where such and such is. So just, you know, on average, bro, if you just got and did a plank right now, about how long do you think you could hold a plank? If you gave your absolute best, just give a guess.
Man, probably 2-3 minutes, bro.
Perfect. So 2-3 minutes, and around minute 3, you'd be like shaking, and your whole body's going crazy, and you got sweat going, like everything's it's madness. You're like, you want to give in, your back's hurting, your legs hurting, and then finally you drop down and you say to yourself, "Damn, that was truly as far as I could go." Okay, and so it made, because bro, I do planks regularly, and the time of my plank doesn't even so much matter. And that's what I'm getting to, is when I took the time to actually look up the world record for longest plank ever held.
Isn't it like 18 hours, and it was done by a woman, right?
Well, actually it's around, I want to say it was around 9 hours. It's in Australia.
Okay.
But 9 hours and like 50 minutes. This guy just held a plank for 9 hours and 50 minutes.
Oh man.
And there's people watching him, making sure his knees don't touch, making sure he doesn't drop. But that's my point, bro. It got me thinking, because it's not about the fact that he did 10 hours and you did 3 minutes. It's about when you're in that 2 to 3 minute range and your body's telling you, this doesn't feel good, this hurts, like, I want to quit. This is outside of my comfort zone. I'm not comfortable right now. Put me down. I don't want to do this anymore. It's in that period is where you actually decide and learn a lot about yourself, of like, what do you want that to happen? So I use that plank reference point because it's the exact same thing with whatever goal or vision or destination it is that you declare in life. The first 30 seconds, of course, you're talking shit. Of course. I told, this is easy work. Light work. And then what happens? A minute and 15, and starting to quiet up a little bit. Like, no, don't worry. We got this, guys. You know I got this. And then a minute 45 hits, and now you're not saying anything. Now you're just taking some deep ass breaths and then trying to breathe your way through it. And then you get to 2:15. And now you're starting to shake. You're not saying anything. Matter of fact, you don't even want to hear anyone say anything.
Nope.
That's going to aggravate you.
Yeah.
Right? You're in that. Now you're in a state of frustration. This is life, right? Aren't we describing life? Because once you finally push past that range of what you thought you could go, right? You're at the 2:45 mark, and you want to put your knee down. You finally get to 3 minutes, and you know that's literally all that you could do at that time. It's not about comparing your 3 minutes to the world record. It's about knowing that you gave everything that you could in your season.
Yep, I like that. Yeah, definitely. Wow, yeah, that's crazy, bro. And it's so true too. I had a similar metaphor. I was doing sprints last week, and I haven't done sprints in a long time. I just normally do a jog just to wake myself up. It's not anything about cardio. But I was doing sprints, and I was like, I'm not even sure if I'm still as fast as I used to be, because I used to be fast. Like, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, if I was running next to somebody, I would have a comparison to understand whether I was fast or not. But because I'm running by myself, I'm not timing. There's nothing in this environment that's going to give me a measurement of how fast I'm going. I don't even know. I just know that I need to give it my best. And I think that is such a metaphor for the journey. When there's no comparison, when you don't measure up against anything other than what you can give, there's no harsh feelings there. There's no, oh, this is frustrating. There's no, oh, I wish I was there faster. There's no, like, your job is just to run, right? Your job is just to plank. Your job is just to pursue. The Sadhguru, he's a big influencer on Instagram. He's a guru. He says that the results are none of your business. Your job is to pursue, and the results are not up to you.
I love that. That's tough.
Man, we could talk for hours, bro. But I want to round it out a little bit. Talk to me about where you're at right now. Talk to me about like what does it feel like to know that you just told me this whole story about what you've been through, with, and then compare it to where you're at right now. Like, how do you feel? And then, what's next?
That's a great question, because I remember, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day. It's like when I had my first six-figure day, and I called my mom and my dad, and just like
Yes.
I
Yeah.
couldn't stop crying that day, bro. Like, and the reason
That video I send people that video all the time, bro. I love that. I'm so happy you made that.
no, I appreciate that, bro. And like even that, man, when you talk about like God's gifts and stuff, it's like I I could have just posted a screenshot and everybody's seen like here's a picture that I made 100K, but certain things like that, bro, like I always try to find a way to like compartmentalize time. Like I showed 3 years and 3 minutes in that video. But the biggest thing that I think people resonated with was just a genuine love for people that you care about. Like most
Hmm.
people's favorite parts in that is when I'm talking to my dad.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
and it's just because like once again, bro, now that you know the depths of the story, like I'm so emotional because it's like damn. And the coolest thing too is when he was teaching me to be a carpenter. When I was in the car marking my charts up, I was teaching him to trade.
Hmm.
Even to this day, he sends me screenshots of trading programs
I love that.
that he gets. But the coolest part though is just so like it was so important for me to show people me talking to my mom and my dad, because they've been supportive every single step of the way. Like when I tell them I'm going to do something, it sounds crazy. It sounds like this kid is a little bit nuts. But the crazy ones are the ones that end up, doing it. I guess you got to be a little bit crazy to like believe that heavily, but
Hmm.
I'd
I
rather
really think,
bet on
yeah, bro.
myself, bro. You take the shot
Yeah.
versus pass it to someone else.
Exactly. I really think that we all have that capability. I just think that we conform. Um, I do want to, I know so much about your story. I feel like I forgot to maybe ask some questions, but for people that are listening, like Jason, you heard his story, and I feel like, what I left out, maybe I didn't ask the right question, but Jason has now done 2 6-figure days, where he's closed out over 100K in a single day trading. So you heard what he went through, where he was in his life, the ups and downs, and then to where he's at now, like being a 10-figure trader and being able to close out 6 figures in a single day. I feel like it's such inspiration and proof enough for people to understand that anything's possible. So tell me how that feels, bro.
Yeah, no, it's even hearing it, bro. Even hearing it is once again a byproduct of when I first started writing. Because since 2018, I've been putting my affirmations on the back of my phone,
Hmm.
and I remember reading, "I am a six-figure trader with $300 to $500 in my account." Sometimes I was on zero. There's even a
Hmm.
video I have that I know you've seen as well, where I'm in Vegas and I had $3 in my account.
Yep.
I'm walking, against traffic on a highway in a suit,
Hmm.
carrying my luggage because I couldn't afford an Uber at the time. Where I was already in
Yeah.
overdraft fees on my other card. So it's like just the concept, bro. But once again, the key of that video was just my energy and my belief and my
Yep.
positivity. And that's back to right in the middle of the storm. That video could have been a whole different video. I could have been crying and woe is me. And
Yep.
I've been
Yep.
trying this and F this. Like I'm just like forget this. I'm gonna go get a job. And I had to go get a job even after that video. That's once again,
Mhm.
people need to like put your ego aside and pride aside, and you got to look at your life as a business. Everything costs. So you have to say,
Yep.
if how much do you cost a month? How much do you as a person cost a month, because you're a business? And then how much do
Hmm.
you bring in a month? And that's literally when people ask me even about managing finances, it's literally that simple. Like look at how much you spend and look at how much you make.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Make the how much you make number at least 2, 3, 4 times as much as the how much you spend. Right. And I
Hmm.
and I get it. There was many, many years where I was just this number was the same. If not, I was spending more than I was making.
Hmm.
And we all have to go through that. But yeah, no, I mean, just in general, bro. Like you said, man, it feels great to hear. It's something that I spoke into my life that ended up coming to fruition. I feel like that's another big reason why I was so emotional about it, because I remember how uncomfortable I was around friends and family when they would say, "Oh, Jason, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, let me see your phone. What's that?" And they're like reading it. And I remember looking at their faces as they would read it. And like, because they knew I was working at Target, or they knew I
Mm-hmm.
was working with my dad, like, or you know what I mean? They knew I didn't have a car. Like, they were looking at this stuff like, what is he smoking? And that's what's crazy too, is like just something as simple as having affirmations.
Yep.
It is free to do, costs nothing
Mm-hmm.
for people to
Yep.
do, but the real cost is in belief. Because when people say, I'll believe it when I see it, then it's already too late at that
It's
point.
too late. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You
And
had
it's
to
in those
believe it early on, way before that. See
and
it with
it's in those moments, I feel like, when you hand somebody your phone like that, you're in a pivotal moment when you're in a vulnerable state and an emotional state. Are you going to let them take the wheel of your thoughts?
exactly.
Right? Because in that moment, when you hand that case over and it says that stuff on the back, and that is literally, they're holding your life on the back of that phone case in that moment. Are you going to let them take the wheel? Or no, give me that back. Give me that wheel back. Like, this is no, this is, I don't, I don't care what you say. This is what I have for me. Um, Anything else you want to touch on, bro? Anything that
Yeah, I
you
want to ask
feel?
you a question, bro, because this is a cool psychological question.
Okay.
It's cool mind game. This is something that the NFL coaches would come in and they actually asked us, the quarterbacks, one time. And so I want you to picture you're on a school bus. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the school bus is like going 40 miles per hour. You're coming up to a curve, right? You're like on a mountain, and you see, there is a guardrail, but the guardrail ends in a certain area, and
Mm-hmm.
so there is some potential danger, but this is just the circumstance that we're currently in.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna give you the option, okay, to put yourself any place in the bus, okay, and then what exact place would you put yourself? Would you put yourself in the back of the bus, middle, front of the bus? Where would you want to locate yourself in this situation, in this scene?
I'm staying right where I'm
And where's that?
at.
Where is that in the bus?
mm, I generally tend to sit in the middle. So I would say I would stay in the middle.
No, it's a great answer.
Mm-hmm.
And even these type of questions, there is no true right or wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so to kind of get a deeper dive into what people are immediately thinking of, because oftentimes the frequent answer is I'm gonna sit in the back of the bus so that way
Yeah.
I can jump out the exit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can save myself and jump
Mm-hmm.
out the exit. Some people say I'm gonna sit in the middle. Maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
side exits, or maybe I'm cool and like it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's also some people, a rare answer as well, is they want to sit in the driver's seat, because
Mm-hmm.
coming around the turn, they would rather be responsible for the effects of what's going to take place than allow somebody
Mm-hmm.
else to
Mm.
handle
I
the
like that. I like that. Okay. Yeah.
right. So what you just said is exactly the point, bro. It's like, if I know where it is that I'm driving, then just
Mm-hmm.
because you have those people, the backseat drivers, trying to tell you how to
Mm-hmm.
do what you're doing, it's like
Yeah.
you're telling me how to do what I'm doing, and you don't even want to go where I want to go.
Yes, bro.
You're
Crazy.
giving me
Yeah.
directions to a place that you don't even want to go.
Or they never been.
Both. The concept
Yes.
between both those things is that it's not ultimately where you want to be.
Yeah, bro. So, I love, like I said, I've listened to all the interviews that you've been on, and the connection of living life in metaphor is so substantial to me. It's like the same, a similar thing. Like, if you were driving down the road, how dangerous would it be for someone to put their hand on the wheel and start to turn it? You'd be, no, get off. Like, what are you doing? You're gonna make us crash. You're gonna kill us. But people don't understand that your life is even more. That's your life. It's even more important than that. The direction you want to go. Would you let somebody grab the wheel? No, you
I,
wouldn't.
I love that we're closing out with advice. So definitely, I want to include this as well for the people who are still here. Shout out to you guys, because
Mm-hmm.
for 45, 50 minutes plus just listening to us talk about different things that we've experienced, but I definitely want to make sure that we at least include a couple scriptures, especially since we're talking
Yep.
about
Go
advice.
ahead.
I want to drop some bars on advice that's in the good book. All right, Exodus, it says leaders should consider the advice of others. Okay, so once again, back to remembering who is others. Okay, another good verse. Stay away from people who give wicked advice. That's in Psalms. Okay, God's advice is best. That's Psalms. So that's one that I can't just say and us breeze over. When we talk about being best, we're talking about the greatest choice, like
Yep.
the number one overall pick. So when it says God's advice is best, if you feel like there's certain things that God is telling you to do, then his advice, his direction, his suggestion supersedes anything that anyone else has to say.
Yep.
I'm going to listen to the best advice. Okay. A couple last few bars. You can never get enough word. That's the bread. Make sure you eat up. Proverbs 14. Advice helps provide success. Proverbs 1:5. Wise people seek advice. Proverbs 12:15. Foolish people do not listen to advice. And then the last one, Thessalonians, give advice to those in need. So talk about free game and why I try to provide value and why my content is maybe not so much focused on a lot of these like more material type things. I'm not against
Because you're doing the higher powers work, bro.
right. It's a combination of both because I don't want people thinking that I'm against them or like I don't plan on
Mm-hmm.
driving the Aventador and all of that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
all in I feel like it's all in unison together, bro. Like when you understand that God doesn't want you to live in scarcity. God is
Yep.
inside of you. He's a part of you. He's my business partner. So if I'm living in scarcity, that makes him look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When I
Yep.
remember I heard a mentor say, I have never failed. I have never not reached a goal I set out for. And when I first heard it, I was like, damn, that's a little arrogant of him to say, bro, like you've never failed. And
Yeah.
then
Come
he
on.
looked at me and he was like, hold on, bro, hold on, bro. He was like, I see how you're looking at me. You think that I'm talking about the past. I'm talking about the future, the present,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. When I say I have never not reached the goal I set out for, I'm speaking that into my life,
Yep.
not about my life. They're both the same thing, but it's like that
Mm-hmm.
really these moments shifted how I looked at things because my immediate reaction was like, wow, bro, like how are you going to be that cocky to say that? And then to be taken back and realize why would I not want to hear him say that? Because
Yep.
if he also believes that God is inside of him and
Mm-hmm.
his business partner, he or she,
Mm-hmm.
then why would they not say?
Mm-hmm. 100%. Mm-hmm.
So
And that's one thing I want to end off with that too is like you you don't have to be understood. Like the thing that you should not be aiming for is to be understood because like you were saying, what with the things that God is putting on your heart, the desires that we have, they say that the desires that we have, the things that we want to do is God trying to live through us.
mm,
So within those things, nobody has to understand it because it's for you. And that's it. So I want to thank Jason so much. Anything else you want to say? Drop your IG, drop your YouTube, drop where people can tap in if they want to learn how to trade or just be inspired to ingest your content. Go ahead, bro.
1000%, man. First and foremost, once again, thank you so much for having me on. Always remember it's important. People won't really remember what you said, but more so how you made them feel. So I'm really hoping and praying today we made you feel something. We were able to inspire you. Nipsey Hussle said the greatest form of currency is inspiration. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I look to do is just give people a little bit of that every single day. If you want to follow me, check me out. I'm on social media at QB Stew. That's QBSTEW. Those are my only accounts. Stay clear of the scammers out here. They're out here like roaches, man.
Crazy.
But nah, it's been lit, bro. I'm excited for the rest of the year. We're already in month 2. It's already February 18th. It's just crazy, bro, how fast time's going. But I know this is the year of quantum acceleration. I'm speaking that into everyone listening, and just know, like you said, bro, you can feel it. It's certain things that you can't see the wind, but you feel it. You know it's there, right? I can't physically see this quantum acceleration that's coming, but I feel it, bro. In every strand of my DNA, I feel that this year is going to be massive.
Well, you heard it, guys. This will be on Apple Music, Spotify, just like all the other podcasts. We're going to have the video on YouTube. I'll chop it up for Instagram. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next one.
Yes, sir.